Ladies and gentlemen, where have I been? Well, I can't tell you. I've been on secret missions. I've been all over the world. I've been to Disneyland. Oh, damn it. I just spoiled the surprise. Damn it. I was at Disneyland yesterday, but I was also traveling, doing a lot of other stuff on the channel, which is why this is my first video in a while. And I had to wake up, have a little coffee, and look at my Twitter feed and see some of the most incredible news that we had been waiting for. It feels like in this community, like years, even though the game's only been out for like 9 months, it feels like we've been waiting for years for this announcement. It's just as big as solos, I think. It's duos in Apex Legends actually coming to the game. For a limited time, November 5th, we will be having duos in this game. I'm going to break down what this means, how big this is, and I think what the impact of duos is going to bring to the game thus far. Just some early speculation off of what we have and talk all about it. Now, we don't have too much information other than the fact that November 5th, we are starting duos. It is going to come for a limited time only. What it looks like in the trailer that you guys are watching a little bit of or have seen throughout this video so far is that's going to be on the normal World's Edge Season 3 map. So we're not going back to Kings Canyon like we did for the Shadowfall mode, which brought us solos. But it means that Shadowfall gave us solos a few weeks ago. We're now getting duos back on World's Edge. When are we going to get trio? Okay, never mind. That's the exact point. We have so much, I think, amazing content coming through that it feels like we're just stepping up through numbers at this point. We're going, fours in a little bit, maybe fives on a brand new map. I mean, a brand new install, a new game. What are you guys doing? I love you to bits, Apex Legends. You guys are honestly being pretty amazing here with the amount of content that you're putting out. Respawn as well. Let's get into it. First of all, this is the first time of duos, and it is an experiment. How do we think duos is going to go over? Now that we kind of hit the big talking points here. Duo, honestly, I think is more of a major long-term investment for this team. It's at Respawn and at EA. They had their monthly October earnings call, which I'll talk a little bit about throughout these points, because I do have 5 talking points here. The first point, getting into the investment side of what they're looking at. This as a long-term franchise. Apex was supposed to kind of go out and do its thing, but now when people realize that it's such a big game, 70 million players just reached, they have continued to promote that they are investing in the long-term live service of this game, which means that stuff like duos, stuff like fours, I mean, maybe they'll do a weird, like a huge team type thing, you know what I mean, a ground war style once, just for a random event, see what that even looks like. It could be kind of crazy. And then solos, again, it feels like this could be something that continually comes in and out of the game, and I think that's a really fun aspect for people who enjoy the different modes. I do still worry about this being a permanent mode. Any type of mode like that splits the population, I think, is a little worrisome, but 70 million players, if you get this to the next level, if you get past that 100 million, you're never gonna have to worry about population at all. There's just so many players playing, you will probably always have somebody in your queues to make it go quickly. But yeah, it's great that they're seeing these new changes in modes to give a fresh look, since they are investing in this long term, and it's not just a one-stop shop for some money and then work on another project. 2, why did this take so long? The second talking point that I want to bring up that's important is, why the heck did it take like all this time to get to solos? Well, we did know that in duos, we did know that in season 1 they talked about the process, how they take information from these game modes, and I'm sure they've been doing that ever since the original solos. I think what they saw is a lot of engagement. I think they saw probably new accounts being registered. I think they saw probably older players who hadn't played in a while have some higher retention after that point, and that retention probably stayed. Maybe not for all, but I have a feeling that some of those key numbers for video game metrics, having come in from a company that was looking at that every single day, like, to me, I can see how that could also encourage them to say, okay, let's do another solos mode for Halloween. Let's do a duos mode now and see what that can do to turn the dial. And it's clearly worked. I mean, rushing out to 50 million in your first few months, but then steadily gaining another 20 million over the following months and kind of like going down without content coming back up. That is a huge sign for a game that can last years and years and years. So they're investing into that, and it seems like the information kicked off pretty nicely. They also mentioned in their conference call that Season 3 average weekly player numbers are way higher than the Season 2 peaks, which means that more players in Season 3 are coming back on average to play each week than they ever were in Season 2, and that's a good sign that they're doing the right step of content, engagement, and adding modes like Shadowfalls and obviously now duos is going going to continue to help that trend in a positive manner for EA and their games. So that's another thing to consider. That's probably why it took so long. They wanted the data, they saw really good numbers, and now they're saying, okay, let's see if we can do this. The third talking point I want to mention on is the timing of this event. It's another event really close to Shadowfall. I mean, Shadowfall, I don't think is even done at this point. Like I said, I was traveling, I was at Disneyland, I was in Atlanta the week before. I haven't been playing actually for like a week and a half. I almost wanted to do a video about what it's like to not play Apex Legends for a week and a half. You guys are like, I do that all the time. Rain Day, I work, I have a job. Oh my God, are we really that out of touch as YouTubers? I don't, it's like I play games every day. It's strange for me to not play for a week and a half. I don't know. I don't know if you guys relate to that at all. But the idea is that after these great events, it's almost like you have to have a come down moment where you have this and this and this popping off, season 3, a new Halloween event, and then obviously you take a little downturn. And that's when another game can kind of sweep in and take a lot of your player base, like COD, potentially a shooter game, a popular game coming out just now, getting a lot of hype, a lot of stream attention. So adding this event here is huge, considering that this is something that is like on that most requested list, that most wanted list. You know, that girl you maybe turned away after a few years of a relationship. You're like, she's great, but she just can't do this. We always fight in this way, or we can never work on this thing. This big issue was, and then you see him a few years later and like, that's not a problem anymore. You're like, oh my God, this could be the one now. This is all I wanted from you. And then, you know, you never know how romance blossoms after that. A lot of people really wanted to see solos. They wanted duos. They wanted the option because it's so much easier to just, we'll talk about this in a second on the fourth talking point, to not have to try to find 2 other friends to play with. And a lot of people do not want to be subjected to the random teammate system in today's day and age in gaming. So anyways, I think this is a big turning point for them. It's a huge splash when they could have lost a lot of momentum to COD. To bring that back, get some on the most wanted list back, it's going to, I think, bring a lot of people back to the game in a really nice way. And of course, holiday, big gaming time. It's an important quarter to be going strong with your projects, so to speak. Now, number 4, the fourth talking point is a big requested event after COD. Now, like I said, a lot of these gaming companies plan a lot of their marketing strategies around other games. Now, the idea around specifically COD is that COD has 2 things that make me think this was very, I think, already planned for a while. One, obviously they knew the launch was going to be similar to a Halloween launch that they had. It's going to take away the second half of that Halloween bump that they were taking, just because COD is so big. You're not going to see it. Anytime a huge AAA game like that comes out, we would look at the studio, we would be there watching our games, which were free to play, and literally you just see a 30% drop in everything. You just be like, what? And it's like, oh, God of War came out. Okay, so anyone on an Xbox is going and playing that game right now. You know what I mean? That's just the way it works. It's the same thing when it happens to games like COD. And the fact that they're going for not just that, but 2v2 in COD, to me, duos, 2v2 gunfight, the way that that's such a good streamer mode, it's such a good number for big names to combine, whether it's in entertainment, whether it's in content on streaming, Twitch, Mixer, wherever it is, or if it's simply you having to lessen the burden of finding another person to play with, guys. I mean, that's just a big deal. Like, you have a couple of buddies, you could probably say, yo, you want to just hop on and play some duos? That's easy to just say that to one person. But to say, yo, let's hop on, I need to find a third, otherwise it doesn't really feel like you guys are, you know, operating at full capacity. That's a much bigger pressure situation. And I think this is something that COD has hit on as well. 2v2 is fun. It's just enough to have a team game and a team aspect with communication and fun dynamics, but it's also not too much to really put a huge burden on the player to finding a lot of other people available. And I don't think it allows it to be as confusing as maybe a MOBA or these huge team games that take a lot of interest in trying to understand the game before you even understand what's happening when you're watching it. So that's another big point. I really think that COD is hitting on it. Apex is now hitting on it. I think 2s are a strong number. It kind of gets everything that you want, checks all the boxes, so to speak. Now, moving to number 5 to finish this video off. This is probably the biggest one as well. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm going to do one of these videos soon, and I have a very big thing to be kind of doling out. So for those who watch, for those who, you know, subscribe, who do all the good things, the comments, the like, the engage, Rainstorm members, you guys are going to get hooked up Trust me, it's coming soon. I want to talk about it, but we got to hit a certain number, which I'm sure you guys can tell if you just look at my YouTube page pretty soon. It's coming up soon. And so is mobile. Mobile is coming up, and I think this is a huge step for the game and a huge step for Apex Legends. Mobile is coming, and they've mentioned that in their conference call. Will this be an added benefit for mobile? Is this part of the test of engagement of another big announcement, seeing what it can do to drive players back and drive players back into the gaming system of Apex Legends? And also, how much will, I think, mobile in general impact the numbers for all of these separate modes? What I feel is the thing that would allow 2v2 to truly stay is if mobile actually hit, because I've said this many times in my videos. I've talked about it whenever I'm streaming. The thing that got Fortnite from 50 million to 200 million players and that huge bump, and why it's taken over the world in the way that it did, it is because they reached mobile. They reached audiences. Why do you think PUBG Mobile is bigger than PUBG? Why do you think there's just millions and millions of people? Mobile is where 70% of my viewership comes from. You watch me on your phone. If you don't have access to the phone, you don't have access to the major points of your audience and where they are all the time. If you can get on mobile, that will change everything, and we can have 2v2, 3v3, 5v5, 20v20, and we'll be all right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about the comments I made. Leave your comments down below. We'll continue the conversation. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe, and as always, never give up, never stop gaming. I'll see y'all next time.